this week, Indiana comes here in the form of the Purdue Boilermakers. No more time to celebrate. The final month of the season kicks off today. Will Howard is looking for a turnover-free day. The offensive line is looking for a second straight week of domination. And Jeremiah Smith is looking for another spot in the record books. But you don't have to look anywhere. Keep it locked right here. The Football Fever starts right now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Football Fever. Ben Buchanan here in studio with former Buckeye Jay Richardson, Dave Holmes, Obi Stillwell, and Kellyanne Stitz will join us here shortly from Ohio Stadium. But first, Jay, it's time to talk some Boilermakers. Jay, they've been a poor football team this season, dead last in the Big Ten with only one win in 8 games. Are you nervous this could be a trap game today? That's the question.
I don't mean to laugh, but absolutely not. Am I nervous? This is a trap game. Head coach Ryan Walters is really on the hot seat right now. You're talking about being 1-7, 0-5, and let me tell you something. This Purdue team has no win over an FBS opponent at all this season. Their only win coming is versus Indiana State. This is just simply not a good football team. Struggle running the ball, struggle passing the ball, struggle staying on the field and sustaining drive. They're not great up front. And I just think the Buckeyes, if they just focus on getting better this game, working on all of those little things. I don't want to sound like this is a scrimmage, but this is one of those games, if you're the Buckeyes, where you want to come out and you want to be crisp, you want to be sharp in all of your execution, you want to be on time, you want to have a low penalty game. You want these things every game, but when you're playing a football team that just cannot compete on the field with you, and it's glaring when you cut the film on, you really want to come out and roll and execute. And then I would imagine, Ben, that by the late third quarter, you're going to see a lot of the second unit out there, and they should be getting reps. I mean, this thing should be, I hate saying this because this is a top-tier matchup. This is the Big Ten.
Sure.
Should be a blowout.
Okay.
Man,
this
should be second units out there. We should see Devin Brown play significant snaps in this football game. And I'm being completely honest, I just don't see this football team as being a competitive team. Their best player is tight end Max Clare. I mean, he leads their offense with 30 receiving yards 30 catches for 462 receiving yards. And you saw what Ohio State did to a top-tier tight end last week with Penn State's guy who was all-world, absolutely kept him to only a couple catches there. So what you want to see from Ohio State is execution, and what you want to see from Will Howard is to have a fantastic day throwing the football, running the football, and Ohio State leaning into that new personality of, hey, we're going to run this football, and then we're going to throw off the play action. If they decide to be that football team, this thing will be over before your DoorDash food arrives for lunch. I promise you it will be.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, don't play down to the competition, right? That's the hallmark of a mature football team. Want to see that today. Now, Jay, as we know, the Boilermakers have played spoiler before. Who could forget, right? 2018 when Purdue stunned undefeated Ohio State. Is there any world where that does happen today?
That world does not exist.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the multiverse is there a world where Ohio State gets upset by Purdue today. I know, I feel like saying that out loud is like you want to keep your fingers crossed. No, it's not going to happen. They just don't have the horses. I don't think they have the head coach. And I don't think they have the inspiration that they had a few years back when they pulled that huge upset. This is not that moment, Ben. So quick answer, no.
All right, we'll have a chance to see it. I love it. Now, for more on today's matchup, let's send things out to Dave Holmes and Obi Stillwell, who are live at the Shoe this morning. Guys, how are we feeling today?
We're feeling good. It's a beautiful day here at the Shoe. Feels like football weather. And Obi, the one thing I love about our show, we try to keep it real. We're not going to make these guys better than they are on the other sideline today. We're going to call a Boilermaker, a spade, a spade. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, I want to get a final thought from you coming out of Penn State, because I know last time we were here at the Shoe, it was that ugly win over Nebraska. Yeah. People were starting to think maybe the sky was falling a little bit. The Oregon loss, the Nebraska ugly win. I think you'd probably almost do a 180 on this program the way they went to Happy Valley.
Oh, yeah. It was a valiant victory with validation.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of question marks going into the Penn State game, a lot of things that were answered in the Penn State game, and their personality. We finally saw the personality of this Ohio State football team, and that's the thing that I believe that they celebrated, even in the locker room. Some people say, oh, they celebrated too much. They act like they won the national championship. That was a hump that they needed to get over. Ryan Day needed to get that monkey off his back. It's off his back, but he also got a lot of personality, a lot of character in that team to build upon, and that's why I don't believe that's going to be a letdown even today.
You know, you see the way they celebrated Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, the bear hugs on the field afterwards. I know you're a believer that Ryan Day almost feels a little different this year. Is part of that Chip Kelly? What exactly do you attribute that to?
You know what? I attribute that to full autonomy of this team. I mean, if you look back and you look at Urban, even the influence of Urban Meyer, such a big personality, such an alpha male, and then he still has his son-in-law that is over the quarterback, the position that actually Ryan Day is a guru at.
Yeah.
He still has Urban Meyer's son-in-law, and I think a lot of people downplay that a little too much. I think the reason why those seniors even came back this year is that because Ryan Day had full autonomy of this team, and they truly, truly believed in him. Ryan Day knows how to move that pedal. He knows how to put the gas on and how to let them off. Even when practice, even while their bodies are recovering through these games, it's not a full throttle push. And I think they respect that out of Ryan Day. They appreciate that out of Ryan Day. And I think he has a good pace of this team. It's weird to say this, but something about that Oregon loss has really motivated this team, and has really, I think, at the end of the day, it will help them on this national championship run.
You know, when you don't win the big one several times over and over, and people chirp about it, you can either believe the narrative or you can work tirelessly to fix it. And it feels to me like, Obi, sort of the outpouring, the emotional release after Penn State was they felt like they have changed the narrative. But now you come home and you play a Purdue game against a team that's lost 7 in a row. Their only win is against Indiana State, the Fighting Larry Birds. All right, so this is not a good Purdue team. So what do you do? Look, and I think Jay was correct. When we talk a possible letdown game, it doesn't mean they're losing this game. But do you think they come out sluggish, or do you think they're more self-motivated?
You know what? I think they're self-motivated. I think they found themselves. They found their personality. And I think it's just going to be more of the same of what we saw in Penn State. They're going to clean that up a little bit, like Jay said, and then we're going to move on. But it's more of the same.
Yeah, I'll say this, guys, as we get ready to toss it back to the studio. You can normally tell the buzz around a Buckeye game based on how quickly you get to your parking spot. Parking was fairly easy today at the shoot. So, yeah, this doesn't feel like Penn State, Nebraska, or Oregon. We're just being honest.
Thanks, fellas. All right, one of the hard truths that Buckeye fans have come to terms with is that the quarterback play at times has been a little bit shaky. Will Howard hasn't been bad at all, but he certainly hasn't been elite yet. Just take a look at some of these numbers over 8 games. The K-State transfer has thrown for just over 1,900 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. QBR ain't bad, though, 8th in the nation. But both Howard and head coach Ryan Day recognize he's got to improve after an up-and-down day in Happy Valley.
It can't happen. You know, it's just, we got to take care of the football. He knows that. And, you know, we're going to keep hammering at home this week, and a huge emphasis on execution and taking care of the football.
So what does Howard need to improve on? You just heard Coach Day say it right there. Taking care of the football, and that means not doing things like throwing a pick six. So Howard doesn't only need to take care of the football through the air, and I know you guys will see this pick six and you'll go, man, what is going on there? Right away, he has to work on running the football as well. A fumble on the goal line against Penn State went out of bounds for a huge touchback. That robbed the Buckeyes of a big score, and the whole game could have looked way less dramatic. One of the other things Howard seems to struggle with at times is his power and his accuracy. You'll see a wild throw to Carnell Tate here, and it's just, if he can just get this ball on target, that's another 7 points taken off the board for Ohio State. You'll see Carnell Tate beating Ben right off the line, his defender, and you're looking at an 8-yard cushion, and then the ball just airmails and goes out of bounds. Now, we know these kinds of things happen, Ben, but what you really want to see is more consistency right there.
Yeah, you can't miss those, right? Get 17, some space, got to keep that ball in bounds. Now, Jay, you bring up an excellent point about the consistency. We're talking of Will Howard's arm. We've seen at times the quarterback either underthrow or overthrow his receivers. As mentioned, during the Penn State game, we saw that yet again. Howard lofting one to Jeremiah Smith. Looks like he thinks it's short, so he hesitates. Then he realizes it's going long, misses the catch, and a possible touchdown. Jay, you've been very vocal about Will Howard's arm this season. How much does the accuracy really need to improve here?
Well, the reason I've been so vocal is because when you look at this football team, Ben, they've got every other box checked. The defense is playing fantastic. They've got two of the best running backs in the country. They've got an offensive line last week against Penn State that came together and just road graded Penn State's big-time D-line all the way down the field. You got Caleb Downs in your secondary playing his butt off. All you need is a quarterback that can dish the ball out, be a fantastic point guard. And let me not say for a second that Will isn't that guy. I fully believe Will Howard's that guy. When you see him in between the numbers, Ben, I mean, he is laser accurate. It's when he starts to get outside of the numbers and when you have those deep balls. You know, we've had guys in the past like C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, and they threw these beautiful deep balls. We haven't seen that yet consistently from Will Howard. So if I'm being nitpicky on Will, the one thing we want to see is a consistent deep ball that's going to stretch the field. And then all of a sudden, now the run game gets even better because now those DBs are backing up, those linebackers are backing up. But if they're cutting on film and they're seeing inconsistent deep throws, they're going, we can crowd the line of scrimmage. This guy can't beat us over top.
A consistent distributor of the football. Urban Meyer used to use that term. You know who I think of? J.T. Barrett, right?
Man,
good arm strength, maybe not elite arm strength, but makes all the throws that you need to. Excellent leader. J.T., one of the best. I think Will Howard's going to get it together today, right there. Now, Jay, as we know, Will Howard came to Columbus via the transfer portal after 4 very successful years at Kansas State, but he wasn't the only player that Ohio State was targeting in the portal. The Buckeyes absolutely wanted the very talented Cam Ward, but as we know, he decided to swap rainy Pullman, Washington for sunny South Beach. That's not a bad trade, I would say.
I get it.
OSU also expressed interest in grabbing Dylan Gabriel, and as we know, he left Oklahoma for Oregon, eventually leading the Ducks to a crushing 32-31 victory over the Buckeyes earlier this season. Jay, what, if anything, do these two misses, call them misses, say about Ohio State in the transfer portal?
You know what, Ben? I don't want to put too much on what it says about Ohio State in the portal. A lot of times, especially with Cam Ward, what it says is, man, guys do not want to be cold, okay? It is cold in Columbus, Ohio, and you get these Southern boys that are looking at that portal, and they're looking at the money coming up, right? And some people have said, well, they were offered Cam Ward $2 million, or they offered, Dylan Gabriel $2 million, and they wanted 2.2 or 2.3, and you're not going to nitpick and split hairs about $100,000 here or there when you're going to spend almost $20 million, right? No doubt. But at the end of the day, you cannot convince a guy to be a Buckeye that doesn't want to be a Buckeye. And if he has it in his heart, he wanted to go to Miami and he wanted to be on the beach working on his tan and playing at Hard Rock in front of 30,000 people because that's all that shows up to Miami home games. It's actually crazy to watch those home games see so many empty seats. And when he could have been in the shoe with 110,000+, whatever. I'm not taking it personal. But what I am saying is that's not a black eye on Ohio State's NIL process. I think that's just those guys wanted to be in those places. And by the way, Ohio State is not an easy place to play football, folks. There is a lot of pressure when you come to Columbus, and there's a lot of expectation. And the weight of that is a little bit too heavy for some guys. So I give kudos to Will Howard for saying, you know what, I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to get in front of the driver's seat of that amazing team they have, and I'm going to have the courage to take all of the criticism that guys like Jay Richardson are going to give you. And to his credit, he still comes out with W's.
Great point. 100,000 strong every Saturday in the Horseshoe and 60 and sunny in November. I mean, it's looking up here, man. It's not bad in Columbus.
The meteorologist, Ben Buchanan.
All right, coming up next here on the Football Fever, his recruitment certainly put the college football world on notice, and now his play is putting everyone on notice. That's right, Jeremiah Smith is eyeing the Buckeye record books today. What he needs to do in this game to be remembered forever. Plus, we may think he's the best in the country, but how does he stack up against the others? We compare JJ to Heisman hopefuls, first-round draft picks, and other freshman phenoms from around the country. This is the Football Fever live from Columbus.
This countdown to kickoff is sponsored by Division 7 Roofing.
All right, we're taking you live to the Horseshoe this morning, and we're just a little over 30 minutes away from kickoff between the Buckeyes and the Boilermakers. It's cool but not cold, with temps in the mid-50s, making for yet another gorgeous day for college football here in Columbus.
Catch made. Look at him go. Jeremiah Smith to the house. It's going to be a fade to the corner, though, to Smith. Oh, he one-handed it again. How many times is this kid going to do this year?
He's 16, and now going deep for Smith, who makes the catch inside the 20. That guy could be playing on Sundays tomorrow.
Well, he's only a freshman, but the NFL and the record books are already on notice. That's right, Jeremiah Smith has already broken the freshman single-season receiving yards record at Ohio State, and now he's just one house call away from the single-season touchdown record as well. Our Kellyanne Stitz caught up with JJ ahead of a potentially historic game today in the Atlas Butler offensive checkup. Kellyanne?
Jeremiah, the Sean Alexander Freshman Player of the Year semifinalist, you beat Chris Carter's record for most receiving yards in a single season. You're about to beat his touchdown record too. Has this year been going how you envisioned as a freshman?
No, not really. I didn't really expect the season that I'm having right now. I just wanted to come here and just be a player that support Mac, Tate, and whoever would have been out there as well. So I didn't really have no intentions of starting or anything like that. I just came in with my head down, just working each and every day. So.
Jeremiah, you scored in every single game as a freshman except for the Penn State game, which is an incredible stat. Was that frustrating for you not to find the end zone?
No, not really. Everybody expects me to score every game, which that's not going to happen. I have Mecca Ibuka, a first-round receiver in front of me. I have Carnell Tate, who's going to be a first-round receiver as well. I have the best two backs in the country. Yeah. So, I'm not going to score every game. That's just the way it is. I can't really say nothing else about that.
You've come into two very hostile environments against Oregon and at Penn State, helping the team to a top 5 victory. You don't seem to ever be phased in these hostile environments. Take me through that mentality that you have when you step on the football field.
Just go out there and dominate. Just leave no doubt on every team that we play. Penn State was a great experience. Just a lot of people telling me Penn State is probably the loudest place you're going to play. It was cool to be out there for the first time. Yeah.
How was that locker room celebration?
Oh, it was very fun. Everybody was hyped. Everybody was teed up. So yeah.
And last one, the offensive line stepping up the way that they did. How much confidence did that give you guys and the rest of the offense moving forward?
It gave us a lot of confidence. Just the way that them guys played, all them great out of champion. Carson definitely played a great game. He stepped up when we needed him to, so yeah, can't thank him enough.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah, and good luck this weekend against Purdue.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kellyanne. JJ is closing in on the record set by the great Chris Carter after beating the receiving yards record. Take a look at the stats side by side here. Smith getting one of those records broken on 2 less receptions than Carter. Very impressive. And game certainly respects game. Chris Carter probably seeing shades of his time in scarlet and gray while watching Jeremiah Smith on TV, tweeting at the young star, quote, "You're a legend already," end quote. That's some high praise. So Jay, the question of the morning, does JJ get it done today? Does he break Chris Carter's record versus Purdue this afternoon?
Ben, not only does he get it done, not only does he break the record, I think he does it in the first quarter.
Ooh.
I think they're going to get that out of the way right away. I just don't have a lot of faith in this in this Purdue secondary. But also, he's just so talented. Even when he has double coverage, we've seen him make plays in between 2 defenders, go up and make a catch with one hand. Single coverage is, it's like child abuse. It's just not even fair. He's going to blow right by a guy off the line. And I don't know that there's a thing that you can do. You can roll coverage, but then you got a Mecca on the other side. You also got Tate, who's really starting to show us out of IMG Academy why he was that dude. And I just don't think they have an answer for any of our receivers, which means JJ is going to end up singled up at some point. You can scheme that up, and he will end up in the end zone.
He's special, man. A man amongst boys, as they say, and he's only a freshman. So
unbelievable.
Much more to come. Now, we've been saying it since before the season started, but this guy really is a once-in-a-generation talent at wide receiver. But is he the best in the game right now? You've obviously got Colorado's 2-position Heisman candidate, Travis Hunter, Arizona's Tedero McMillan, and the other freshman phenom in Alabama Alabama's Ryan Hollywood Williams. Jay, in your opinion, where does Smith stack up to these other elite playmakers across the country? Those are some good ones on that list.
You mentioned one in Travis Hunter, who will be mentioned in the Heisman Trophy ceremony at some point. He will be in New York, because you're talking about a kid that plays both ways. I mean, you're talking about 67 plays on offense, 70 plays on defense, night in and night out, and continues to produce. And I mean, he gets a lot of flack, because some people say, oh, well, he's only a middle-of-the-road receiver and he's an elite DB, or they'll say the opposite. He's an elite DB or elite receiver, but a middle-of-the-road DB. Listen, the kid plays every single play of the football game at a high level, so you have to give him some respect. And then Ryan Williams in Alabama. Special talent. I think he has the best skill set when the ball is in the air. We saw that against Georgia when they had that huge comeback victory. You saw Ryan Williams make some unbelievable catches to get his team going. But Jeremiah Smith is physically the most developed, also has an amazing skill set, runs the route tree to perfection. He's been doing it since he was about 8 years old. You can look up clips of this kid running routes and going through drills as a 10-year-old, and you're going, oh, okay, this is not just some kid that's a special athlete. He's actually skilled and trained to do this. So I mean, he's like Julio Jones with even better route running ability already as an 18-year-old, if you can wrap your mind around that. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen Julio Jones up close, but the dude
Amazing
is massive,
athlete.
and so is Jeremiah Smith. So I'll say Jeremiah Smith just has the edge over everyone else purely on genetics and then the skill set that he has. But I do like Ryan Williams, and I do think Travis Hunter should he should finish in the top two for the Heisman.
What I'm hearing is maybe the highest ceiling, though, right? Like he's here, he's 17, 18-year-old freshman. What he can be as a 24-year-old in the NFL, like at his absolute peak. That might be scary.
He's going to be 21 in the NFL.
Well, yeah.
He could be 19 in the NFL.
I'm just saying a couple years experience as well. He's going to be dominating.
Absolutely.
That league. All right, coming up next, we're playing the Hudson card. And no, it's not a move to get a girl's number or something like that. It's the name of Purdue's starting quarterback. We'll take a look at some of the best names in college football at 11:45. This is the Football Fever. All right, time now for another G&J Pepsi Fantastic Photo of the Week. And for this one, it's like father, like son. Tim here is taking up his father's Larry, the love for his alma mater wholeheartedly. He may be a Cincinnati grad, but Tim is absolutely a Buckeye at heart. Great to see. Another photo right there. Remember to send us your photos of how you're watching our Buckeyes by going to chime in on the ABC6 app. And as always, we look forward to seeing you there. Now to the Football Fever, best trivia in the land, sponsored by Parlay Sporting Club and Kitchen. This week's question is, which school's marching band was the first to perform Script Ohio? Was it Ohio State, Michigan, or Ohio University? I'm guessing there's a little twist with that one, maybe. Simply scan the QR code on the screen and answer the question correctly, and you could win a $100 gift card to Parlay Sporting Club and Kitchen to enjoy some of this amazing food you're seeing right now. Now, there's nothing like the post-game locker room after a huge win. You have the player hype, that incredible feeling of crushing a bitter rival, and of course, maybe even a coach busting out a dance move. We'll take you back to some of our favorite winning locker room experiences here shortly. Stay with us here on the Football Fever.
Coach, I think I have to start with the biggest question. Where did you get those dance moves? Because they've gone viral.
It's a big hit in the 80s.
I've seen a couple examples of him dancing, with the defense and stuff like that, but I ain't never seen those moves before, but it was funny to see him like that, and I hope we can get some big wins so he can dance again.
Jim Knowles, that's what I'm talking about. Sipping the coffee. He's downplaying it. Yeah, that man has
40
some
years
moves,
ago,
man.
those moves was hitting.
I'll tell you what. Well, there's nothing like the locker room after a big win. You have music blaring. Coaches and players are like hitting those dance moves. And, of course, that amazing feeling of accomplishment. Jay, you've had a lot of great experiences as a player. What is the best post-game locker room you've experienced?
Oh, man, there's been a lot, but I got to say nothing will ever top the 2002 National Championship. I was only a freshman.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a youngster, didn't even play in the game, and I just will never forget being in Arizona. And after that game, going into the locker room, and I don't know where people got champagne from, but it was somehow in there, and everyone was just going crazy. Everyone was exhausted and beat up, but you could not stop these guys from partying. And just really quickly, I gotta make fun of our producer Spencer here, because he asked me, "Hey, do you have any footage from the locker room?" And I wanted to say, my man, you don't understand. I came around when the first camera phones came out. So
man.
there was no footage. No
really
one was recording anything because that stuff hadn't been invented yet.
Jay
But it
Rich.
was a good
Wow.
time in that locker room.
That's good, my man. That's telling right there. I'm going to have to go my senior year. So you were a freshman. That's kind of interesting. My senior year, 2012 at Ohio State. That was the year there were some NCAA sanctions, if you remember.
Yeah.
We could not go to a bowl game. But that was a time that was really special. Urban Meyer comes in as head coach. We go undefeated, 12-0. You'll see Braxton Miller handing off the ball there. I can't tell you how many 3rd and 17s there were that year. And he rips one off. I'm getting excited to punt, and then Braxton's running, doing his thing. But amazing year, overcoming adversity, just the brotherhood, snow flurries coming down. It was our final game against Michigan to go undefeated right there. And, you know, Urban, obviously the head coach, the tight-knit brotherhood. That game meant so much for the state of Ohio, for our families. It's not a natty, but it's pretty close, man, going undefeated.
12-0, that was a heck of a football season.
Pretty awesome environment in that locker room. All right, for more on the hype locker room experiences following a big win, let's send things out to Dave and Obi at the Shoe, guys.
Well, let's see. I would love to recount all of my physical athletic achievements, Obi, but it's a noon kick. Maybe if it was a 3:30 kick, I'd have time. No, so covering sports, I've been in some fun locker rooms. One wasn't fun for me because I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but I was in the locker room with the Golden State Warriors when they beat the Cavs in 2015, and Steph Curry came into the Quicken Loans Arena, and I was there interviewing Steve Kerr, their head coach, afterwards. So I was not happy as a guy who grew up a Cavs fan, but it was cool to be a part of a championship celebration. I know you guys had some big celebrations back in the day. Is there one that sticks out to you?
Yeah, you know what? The one that sticks out to me is such an interesting question because a couple days after the game, I actually texted Eddie George. I was like, Eddie, do you remember when we were in Penn State and we actually lost in 94? We got blown out actually like 63-8.
It was 60-something. I remember.
60-something
Kajana Carter.
8. Yeah, Kajana Carter. I remember one of our DBs, Tim Patillo. You remember this? He got an interception in like the 4th quarter and started dancing, and he almost got cussed out on the way to the side. Like, what? Yeah. We are losing by 50-something points and you're dancing. But he was from PA. He had a lot of people in the
stands. That was before TikTok. You had to dance when you had to dance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I texted Eddie and I said, I just simply texted him, what? Penn State, 1995. And he sent back just laughing emojis like, yes, same field, same locker room, different era. And Eddie had walked into the locker room after we beat Penn State in 1995 and said, what? Because everybody was doubting us, right? And he was like, what? And the whole locker room just started saying, what? And we just started bouncing it. That was one of the most exciting wins that we had, and Coop hadn't been in the locker room yet, so we kind of like to, that made it feel different.
That was what I was going to ask. When the Coop's away, the mice will play. Because I know John Cooper very well. He is not a what dancing kind of guy.
No, you would not have seen him in the middle dancing with us, but he was still out doing the post-game interview, and so we kind of took over the locker room for a minute.
Yeah, well, it really was a great moment last week against Penn State. Buckeyes trying to keep that momentum going today here at home against the Boilermakers. Coming up next on the Football Fever, we'll talk about Purdue's quarterback, Hudson Card. One of the best names in college football, but is it the best? We're going to break down our favorite bizarre names next on the Fever. sounds like a frat boy's technique to get a girl. Hudson Card. Like you come up to your bro on a Friday morning and say, hey, I saw you talking to Alyssa last night. How'd you pull that off? Did you play the Hudson Card? Yeah, I did. I played the Hudson Card. I said, what's up? My name's Hudson. I'm the quarterback. I played the Hudson Card.
Well, Hudson Card is certainly a good name, but some of these names are even better, we'd say. On the left is one of SMU's offensive linemen with a name befitting his position, King Large. How about that one?
It's an actual name.
In the middle is another offensive lineman, this time from UNLV, has the given name of Tiger Shanks. All I can say, it's good he's not a punter. You don't want to have Shanks in your last name. Has a punter right there. And the one on the right is a wide receiver from Tulane, and with a name probably better from one of those big boys in the trenches. His name, Fat Watts. There's some good ones. So, Jay, with that being said, who, in your opinion, I love this is hard-hitting journalism right here, has the best name in college football right
There's
now?
too many to pick from. There were some crazy names, but I went with a kid out of Central Arkansas. His name is Dude Person.
Oh, that's good.
His actual name is Dude Like, his dad was in the OR after his birth, holding his baby up and was like, he looks like a dude. He's also a person. You know, he's going to be Dude Person.
He's Dude Person.
He's going to be Dude Person. That's a crazy name, and they only get more crazy, I think.
That's pretty good.
Yours is better.
I think mine is better. I'm going to go with the University of Louisiana Monroe's quarterback. How about this one? General Booty. I like this for a couple reasons right here. General Booty, as a quarterback, they say be the general. You're going to command your troops out there. Famous line from Remember the Titans, if you've seen that movie. And then Booty, you always hear about needing the tush push. You're on about the 2-yard line. You need to, get through the end zone. So General Booty, he's got it all covered, my man.
Get behind the general's booty.
This is one of my favorite segments here.
I tell you what, look out for his little brother, Private Cheeks.
Dude.
Big time player coming to a campus near you, Private Cheeks.
This is good. Well, we obviously can't leave Dave and Obi out of the name game discussion. Guys, I'm sure you've got some great ones as well. Best name in college football, in your opinion?
Yeah, not talking about any specific booty. They're talking about general, just general booty. Yeah, that's a good name. All right, so my favorite name, there's a linebacker at Duke named Memorable Factor. Memorable Factor. Now, Obi, about 2 months ago, I went to the Little Brown Jug. It is the horse race, the harness race up in Delaware. And I remember flipping through the books, and I was trying to bet on the horses based on the best name. I swear to you, if Memorable Factor was in there, I would believe that's a horse name. I would say, give me $10 on Memorable Factor to place in the main event. That's my favorite name. So is there one that stands out to you?
You know what? I love the name Pig Cage. He's a defensive back from Louisiana Tech. There's something that when you actually make it to Division I football and your name is Pig, the level of resiliency you had to have in life to make something out of yourself. But also, I have to say this, I have a cousin named Pig, and I grew up with Pig, man, all my life. I was 30-some years old before I found out that Pig's name was Robert. I didn't know his name was Robert, but it was always Pig to me. So I have a little bit of affection for the name Pig because of my cousin. Shout out to Mansfield, Ohio.
Yeah.
But my cousin Pig, but I picked Pig Cage.
That is some 4-H stuff right there. Can you imagine your name is Pig Cage and every day the teacher says it's time to go out to recess and you're like, no, don't do this.
Right.
No, not again. You don't know what it's like out there for me. Pig Cage. Well, I'll say this. These kids must be tough, like you said, to deal with some of these names. All right, coming up next here on The Football Fever, we're going to go back inside the shoe to our Kellyanne Stitz. Some key injuries to watch today. Who's in and who's out for the Buckeyes? We'll tell you next when the Fever rolls on.
for the most part, the Buckeyes have remained relatively healthy in 2024, which is always great. It seems they've been able to avoid a lot of major injuries, with the exception, of course, of Josh Simmons, who's out for the season after picking up a knee injury against Oregon. Then his replacement, Zen Michalski, went off injured against Nebraska, forcing Carson Hidsman to fill in at left guard, which then put Donovan Jackson out to left tackle against Penn State. But it was against the Nittany Lions that the Buckeyes picked up another injury. Starting D tackle Tyleik Williams had to be taken off in that game last week. Now, head coach Ryan Day says he could be available today. For more on this ongoing situation, let's send things out to our Kellyanne Stitz, who has your Buckeye injury report. Kellyanne?
Some good news for the defensive line. Starting defensive tackle Tyleik Williams is available today. He left the fourth quarter against Penn State with an injury. Ryan Day said he wasn't necessarily planning to put him on a pitch count, but we'll see how much he is used today. If he's used at all, he could be held for cautionary reasons. He is going through the first round of warm-ups. But the sophomore, Caden McDonald, stepped up in his place last week against the Nittany Lions, a part of a huge goal line stand in the fourth quarter. He talks about making the most of his opportunity. He'll be ready to go if his number is called, and Ryan Day stresses the importance of continuing to build depth and remaining healthy at this point in the season.
Game on the line, the biggest game of the year. You know, we got all these goals in set, you know, and Tyleik went down and somebody had to step up, and I got my opportunity and pushed him back, made the play, and I grabbed his leg, but he tried to get away, but no, all my boys came and helped me.
You know, the healthiest team's going to have the best opportunities here, so you know, we got to go win every game. You know what that's like, but we also got to continue to build this depth and play this depth.
And today should be a good opportunity to continue to build depth against a struggling Purdue team. But two key offensive players out today include left tackle Zen Michalski and tight end Will Kaczmarek. Kaczmarek is continuing to rehab from an undisclosed upper body injury. Now, Ryan Day said he is progressing quickly, and they're hoping to get him back in the mix in the next couple of weeks. Reporting in the shoe, I'm Kellyanne Stitz for the Football Fever.
All right, stay with us. We'll hear one last time from Dave and Obi as they give us their keys to the game, plus final thoughts from Jay and I for the Buckeyes and Boilermakers today. This is the Football Fever.
Oh, perfect. All right, great. Then we got all sorts of time to talk these keys. Perfect. Welcome back to the Football Fever. Time now for the Hyundai keys to the game. First off, keep away, and I mean protect the football. Keep it away from the Boilermakers. Will Howard had a rough day in the turnover margin last week against Penn State. Run away. I want to see if this team can keep running the ball the way they did in that final drive against Penn State. And then walk away. I'm talking healthy, physically, just walk away. It's Purdue. You do not want to get injured. So as we're live here at the shoe one final time with Obi Stillwell, let's break these three things down. Keep away. Will Howard has 6 turnovers on the season, but he had 2 of them in the biggest game against Penn State. He also has 5 fumbles that his team was fortunate enough to recover themselves. So, Obi, when I look at it, you're 23 years old. You are supposed to be, you're the grown-up in the room, right? So you need to be the calming influence, the under-control player. That's one of my concerns. Will Howard last week, his eyes got a little big there on that pick six. We can't do that. It won't hurt you today, but it'll hurt you over the next few weeks.
No, you're right. And I know a lot of quarterbacks don't necessarily like this title, but he's a game manager.
They hate that.
That is what he came here for, is to manage the game. When you look at Chip Kelly, you look at Ryan Day, these two are gurus when it comes to offensive play calling. If Will Howard can continue to just manage the game, I think the Buckeyes will be just fine.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Obi, because you don't want to throw the picks, but at the same time, you still want to be aggressive and throw downfield when you have Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Carnell Tate. So we don't want him, we don't want the training wheels on. He's just got to be careful.
Yeah, you know what? And it's interesting when you look at the dynamics of Will Howard coming in. I think he actually, I think the team in this university actually brought him up a level when it comes to his confidence, and we're kind of hoping that maybe he would bring a level of swag or coming from Kansas State or what have you, but he hasn't necessarily brought that. But I think in combination, them working together with him and the team, I think he'll be just fine. But again, he has to take care of the ball, he has to manage the game, and he cannot allow the Buckeyes to lose because of his mistakes.
Yeah, my second key was run away, and I'm referencing that final drive where the Buckeyes ran it 11 straight times to ice the game.
Yes.
It is demoralizing when you do that to the defense. Yeah. What did you like about the running game? Seems like Chip Kelly also was calling a little more creative game last week than he has in weeks past.
Yeah, I think he was forcing the Penn State defense to move around and not be able to really cover those ends like they wanted to and stabilize the edge, if you will. You know what? It is something about running the ball because you're enforcing your will on that other player, to actually move someone that is trying not to be moved. Something about that, right? Yeah. And we weren't sure as we watched the game, did Ohio State have that in them? Did they have that dog in them to actually make that happen? And they showed that they did.
Yeah, the third key there was walk away, and I'm talking health-wise. Here's what you want on a day like today, Obi. You want everyone to have to open their program in the fourth quarter and say, who was that running the ball? Who did he throw that to? This is the kind of game you want to be up 42-7 late third quarter and then get everyone out of there because you have three big ones on the horizon.
Yeah. I mean, second, third, and then even a third team, and then even maybe some walk-ons. This is the time that you're calling home and say, hey, listen, watch the game, I might get on, right? But walking away healthy is important. And again, we talked about it a little earlier. Ryan Day and that training staff understanding when to allow players to break, to pull them out so they can heal and get ready for the next battle.
Yeah, well, we can't wait for another one here today at the Shoe. Noon kickoff, the Buckeyes and the Boilermakers. We know Ohio State's going to roll, but hey, it's a beautiful day for football. We can't wait. That'll do it for us here live at the Shoe for the Football Fever. Let's head it back to the studio. Ben, Jay, take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. It looks beautiful there. Now, listen, before we get out of here, CFP just put out their first iteration, Ben, of the college football playoffs top 12. Any surprises you noticed?
I'll say off the bat, I like the expanded playoff. 12, I'll be honest, still feels a little bloated to me. I would have liked to see 8, but here we are in the 12 landscape. For me, coming in at that 8 number, Jay, you have Indiana. This is a disciplined football team playing at a high level. I really like the new head coach that they have out in Indiana. Definitely going to be watching out for them. Bama, certainly not what they've been in the past. Kalen DeBoer struggling a little more, maybe than expected at Alabama, but in that 11 spot, they can always catch lightning in a bottle, so have to watch out for the Tide. OSU being at number 2, that shows the respect Ohio State has earned. 32-31 lost in Eugene, Oregon. They won the clunker versus Nebraska, but to see how this team has responded against a top 6 team now, Penn State. I like the rankings. I like where the Buckeyes are at, just being that top 6, top 4 at the end of the season where we'd like to be. Top 12, just need to get in, but here we are, my man. Your thoughts with it?
You know what? I love seeing Boise State finally get some love and recognition there at 12. They have that amazing running back that will be in the Heisman conversation. And then, Texas at 5, I want to see who they become. I mean, they look like world beaters, and then they ran into some tough games. I do agree with you. Indiana being in the top 10 is pretty cool. I still don't believe they've played any significant top-tier competition, which we know they will. They got Michigan today as well. That's a middle-of-the-road team now, so we can't really call them significant competition. A lot of cool things. Miami, the U, is officially back. Cam Ward's got those boys absolutely rolling, and now they're in the top 5. That's impressive, and I do like that Ohio State is number 2 because that makes sense. Their only loss being on the road in Eugene by a point,
Sure.
and they had a few different ways they could have won that game, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. But I do believe at the end of the day, you're going to see Ohio State, you're going to see, obviously, Georgia, and you're going to see that team in Eugene all right there in the top 3. I don't think that changes throughout the rest of the season.
Those teams always have a way of making it in that top 5, top 6 right there, formerly the top 4. What are your thoughts quickly, though, with Bama? I mean, do you think that they're going to get things together and make a run here, or has that time passed with Nick Saban?
I don't know. I think we'll learn a lot, obviously, against LSU later on tonight. But with Bama, that loss to Vanderbilt, man, I mean, sometimes it's not always about your best win. Sometimes it's your worst loss that can really, really make you look bad. And to lose that game, I think it's going to be tough for Bama if they were to lose to LSU tonight to have any shot to make it in. Not with 3 losses and not with the loss that's so bad in Vanderbilt.
Well, Ryan Day says it's about us, right? You can only control who's in front of you. Today, it's at it's Purdue. Final thought on this game against the Boilermakers.
Go out there, boys, and execute. All you want to see is a team that is crisp, that is on time. I want to see that offense look strategic, and I want to see them run the football. I don't want to see any kind of trick plays. This ain't a team you got to trick. You're bigger, stronger, faster. Go be that for 4 quarters.
At the end of the day, just impose your will, right? A great football team, as we said earlier in the show, doesn't play down to the competition. Listen, it's a one-win football team. Ohio Stadium's going to show up 100,000 strong. Go get them today, guys. Hoping for a great win here. All right, that'll do it for us here on the Football Fever. The Buckeyes and the Boilermakers are ready to do battle in just a few minutes here. Join us at 11 p.m. tonight for the Football Fever postgame show. We'll have reaction from the Buckeye players and our head coach, Ryan Day. Until then, enjoy the game, everyone. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.